Hello there, Retromaniacs. This is Andy from Retro Asylum, and today the game I'll be playing is Toki on the Sega Megadrive. Now, I used to be a big fan of the arcade game. I used to play it loads when I used to go to the Elephant Castle swimming pool. I used to finish swimming, go upstairs, have my chips, and play the arcade game. Now, the Megadrive version is a pretty decent conversion. It's more of a remake in many ways, and I actually prefer it more than the arcade game. So there's Toki in his pants with his girlfriend, staring into the mountains like a young couple do, and then all of a sudden this big giant building, flying fortress, and a big giant hand kidnaps his girlfriend. So Toki's like, oh no, flexes his muscles there. Evil wizard comes along and turns him into this chimpanzee. And this is where the adventure begins, guys. Right, let's tell you about this version though. It's, like I said, it's very, very different to the arcade game. The level layout is different, and in that respect, I think it plays better. Now, like most arcade games were designed for you to sort of pop more coins in, so the game did have a high level of difficulty, whereas this, it's a lot more player friendly, really. Sorry, guys. Anyway, so here we go. Toki can shoot things. It's a platformer shooter, and I guess that was one of the things that drew me to this game. It's got a very distinctive, unique style to it. Now, the colour palette is very different to the arcade game, I find. But like I said before, the level layout is very, very different. It's almost impossible to get through the first level of Toki without dying, really. I don't think I actually ever got to the first boss. Now, like Super Mario, you can jump on the baddies to kill the baddies, but I do like the fact that you can sort of shoot things. And one of the most memorable things has to be the music in this game. I love the music. It's really, really catchy. Now, let's talk about the negative. If you just saw me there, I had to look down for the screen to scroll down, which is really annoying. Later on, you know, if you've got to try and get through the level as quickly as possible, certain times, you know, you'd hope that the screen would scroll down, but it doesn't, so you can't really see what's going ahead. And I think that's one of the things that let this game down. But apart from that, I actually prefer this more than the arcade game. It's a better game. Like I said, it's more easy to get into. I feel like I've got a chance, whereas in the arcade game, it's really impossible just to get to level 2. Well, someone with my level of skill, I guess. But yeah, I decided to do this. I mentioned it on Twitter, and then Aaron UB40 said, yeah, you know, he'd like to see it. So I thought I'd do this special video review for him. And, you know, maybe he can leave us a comment and let us know what he thinks of this game. I've got to mention as well, recently I have played the Commodore Amiga version, which is more of an arcade port, and it's a very nice port as well. The C64 version is a decent version as well. The Spectrum version, unfortunately, never came out. I would have liked to have seen it come out. You know, it would have been interesting to see, you know, what would have happened. There is a decent version, actually, as well, on the 8-bit NES. I quite enjoy that version. It's very scaled down, very small, very cartoony. But like in many discussions I've had with Dean Swaney from the podcast, is that what Nintendo did do that was good. They didn't try and cram the whole game in. They worked around the system. So you get games like Splatterhouse and Mighty Final Fight. They knew they couldn't replicate the arcade game, so what they would do is just do their own little version. And going back to this Mega Drive version, like I said, it's an interesting game. Toki was always an interesting character. He stood out from quite a lot of the arcade games. Maybe it's because he was an ape. I don't remember that little thing that in the egg in the actual arcade game. But again, the music is really, really good. You see, like I said before, this feels more fair than the arcade game. I wouldn't have got this far in the arcade game. I would have died God knows how many times. But it does have the same Ender level boss, but done in a different sort of format. I'll try and get to it, hopefully. But again, guys, listen to that music. How amazing is that music? That music is really catchy. And there is someone doing like a remake of this. I don't know what's happened. There was quite a little bit of that going on. And then it's just sort of suddenly gone quiet. I've seen screenshots of the HD remake of this, and it looks really nice. I really hope it does get completed. I wouldn't mind getting it. But as you can see, as Mega Drive games go, this is probably one of the better platforms in there, you know. Most people go on about Castle of Illusions or Sonic the Hedgehog, but I'd rate this up there with them. You know, obviously it's not as good as Sonic the Hedgehog or Castle of Illusion, but it's in the top 10 sort of platformer games on the Sega Mega Drive. Again, I don't know, maybe you guys disagree with me, but I quite enjoy it. I think it really is a decent game. Now, I apologise if I'm being quiet. I'm just trying to concentrate on what I'm doing here, nearing the exit. So yeah, I think this should take me to the boss. Here we go. Right, I'm not doing too well actually, because it's hard for me to scroll left because my control pad's a bit dodgy on this. And I'm dead. Anyway guys, check out the Retro Asylum podcast. Goodbye.